Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Late August Sessions. Maybe it's an episode. I don't know. I hadn't figured out anything yet. I'm really just getting used to being a famous TV star now. It's been a couple days, 2 or 3 times. You know.
Do you forget who we all are?
That's why we started doing this, because we're songwriters. We talk about songwriting, and today we have one of the best with us that was born in Americus, grew up in Ellaville, and raised in Richland. That's all southwest central Georgia. And Shonuff came from a musical family. That was the words that was given back to me.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, Shonuff.
Yeah.
Brent Cobb.
Howdy,
welcome.
thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm your third one, right?
Fourth
Fourth
one.
Gosh, I bet you run on fumes then.
You know what? This is a lot of fun. I've wanted to do this for a long time because you were gracious enough to be on my podcast years ago whenever we were doing that during the whole COVID times. Y'all remember the COVID times. But we got this going. We had this idea, and we've got all of our crew, not all of our crew, but a lot of our crew, from the road is here, and we figured out a way to make this happen. And I guess I've just been doing this long enough to be able to call some of the best in the business, and people that I call friends, happen to be some of the best in the business. And everybody, fortunately, has said yes. You graciously have said yes. So thank you for being here. A long way you've come since that band Blind Ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure have.
Yeah, which you said was pretty funny these days to you now.
The ambition, it may still be blind,
Yeah.
But my first band name was Blind Ambition, which my dad actually had come up with when he was forming bands, when he was a teenager, and he never got to use it. And so I utilized it, and that band kicked me out of the band later, and we were together about 2 years.
Yeah.
So I started my earliest writing with that band, and until recently, I started revisiting some of my old AC/DC albums, and some of the old Metallica stuff, some of the old Black Sabbath stuff, and I didn't realize how much, because we were doing all that, and it was what guitar player Justin Hingle was into. My buddy, he was my age, and he could play, he could shred, and I had, up to that point, I had not picked up a guitar, and when I come across somebody that was my age that could play, I was like, I ought to pick up that guitar too. And so they had me learning all them old metal songs. And then recently I've been rediscovering those, and I like seeing how much of that had to do with the way I write now. Man, I forgot about a bunch of them, But Blind Ambition was the name of that.
Yeah. Game. So you were about 12, 13 when you started playing.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense now because, we got to play with you not long ago, mm-hmm. and watching your show. You have all of the elements of like everything American Southern. Yeah. It's all encompassing because there's gospel.
Sure.
There's Southern rock. It's as country as you can get. You are a product of the South.
Yeah, I'd say Southern eclectic is what I've come up with.
Southern eclectic. Yeah. You grew up with your dad and uncle's band,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Slaughter Creek was the name of the creek behind where I grew up at, but that was their band name. They opened for George Jones and Chubby Checker and Doug Stone, all when I was a kid, and I met all those folks back then, and I came from a whole musical background, metal and Southern and rock.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, me too.
I know, man.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm here.
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. But, we're also here because there's guys like Willie Nelson that really bridge the gap with a lot of those type of people.
No doubt.
I'd asked you, if there was a show in particular or an artist in particular that really did that for you. And you said Willie Nelson at a private function held for Jimmy Carter, who just celebrated his 100th birthday not long ago, I think, right?
Yeah, that was last week, yeah.
And so you got to go. You said you really didn't think that you were supposed to be there. Kind of maybe, but it was okay that you were there.
I don't know if it was okay, but we were.
It might not have been all right.
I was freshly out of high school, and I had a younger birthday than everybody else. I graduated when I was 17, and so it was right. It had to be the summer out of high school. And yeah, Willie was putting on some sort of downtown, like a fair on the square type thing at the Jimmy Carter high school that is still there. You know, it's a historical place, obviously. And I grew up 10 minutes down the road from Plains, Georgia, which is where that's from. And yeah, me and a bunch of my high school buddies showed up. We've been riding dirt roads all day and evening, and we showed up at this event. And come to find out, you weren't supposed to be there. But we hung out anyway. There's actually footage of us sitting out there on the lawn. And I got my polo shirt on, you know, being cool. I probably got my, you know, how back in the day, you couldn't find bootcut jeans as easily in Georgia. Yeah, I had them sliced. Yeah,
I still do that.
Totally, man. They're cool.
Not these.
It's cool, man. It's still cool.
We're in the same age demographic, so it is still cool.
So it is still cool. Yeah. Well, it'll come back around.
Like cargo shorts? Still cool like cargo?
I still wear cargo shorts. I don't know that they were ever cool, but I like them because they're practical.
They're highly functioning is cool. Practical is cool.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I need practicality
so that's
my world.
Yeah, so y'all were cutting y'all's own britches.
We was cutting britches.
We was doing that in Texas, too.
Yeah. We weren't riding dirt roads because it was fun. We was practicing.
That's right.
In case we ever got stuck, you know? You need to know how to get out.
You got to know how to yank somebody out.
You got to know how to do it.
That's right. That's right.
So, anyway, wound up at Willie Nelson that night. Lucas Nelson was playing. Anyway, yeah.
Lucas, man, I know Lucas. Yeah, we've done several shows. We did a couple of years ago. We did a bunch of shows with Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas was probably at that show because I think he's a couple of years younger than I am. So he was young. He was like 15 or 16.
Yeah,
it was the first time I ever saw him. Little did I know that years later I would do. 2011. I think me and Hood did that Willie Nelson Throwdown tour with Lucas was on it, and obviously Willie and Jamie and a bunch of them. So crazy.
It was funny playing with Lucas because he said, "Hey, do you want to come out and do?" Because I'd recorded a Lefty Frizzell record. There's been a ton of versions of you if you've got the money. And he said, "Hey, do you want to come out during my set and do a song?" I said, "Yeah." He goes like, we were talking back and forth, and I guess he can correct me if my memory's not serving me correct, which sometimes it doesn't. But he was like, "Which version do you want to do?" And I was like, "Your dad's."
It's the only one that exists. Yeah, hell yeah. I would have said the same thing.
Yeah. So, oh man, all the best to those guys. They're awesome. But man, you're also one of these guys. You have not only your own EPs and full length records out. Your own work is your own. It's uniquely yours, and your sound is you. But when I asked you, this was kind of funny too. This is how you know you've had a lot of cuts by a lot of famous people. You sent me like a few, and then I was researching it and looking up, and like he didn't even send me like some of the biggest names in country music that have had his cuts.
Oh man, I don't know. I've always just been a writer. That's what I've always said is I am a songwriter singer, not a singer songwriter. And out of those cuts, I've never had a radio single out of any of them. And there's been a bunch of them, people. And I can't get them to put it on the radio, which is fine. In this world, everything I do is out of necessity. Not one thing ever took off. So I write for whoever wants to cut something. I still make my own albums because I can't, there were 2 years when my daughter was born that I didn't tour and I didn't plan to make an album of my own. I was trying to just write for the market. And it was the only time in my almost 20-year career that I couldn't get anything cut at all. And I kind of have to make albums for myself also. And it's all a double-edged sword, but it keeps the lights on and the baby's fed.
You have to get your own albums out because that's a palate cleanser. That's your stuff. That's your personal stuff. Right.
The moment I get an album out, more new songs come. But until that and I didn't even realize that until that 2 years was up. I was like, damn.
You're one of those fortunate few that get to have your own touring career and your own solo career, and not only be considered a songwriter, but be somebody that's highly sought after as somebody that can flip the switch and you can sit down and be like, okay, we're going to write a song, for you. And our mutual friend Josh Morningstar is another brilliant one at being able to do that. Adam Hood is another one that's one, and there's a ton of brilliant men and women out there that do this. But you're one of those few that get to do it both ways. I am one of those guys that I'm really, really working on. I'm one of those guys that it still seems to me that it's way too easy for you guys. And I just try to hang out with you guys because by proxy or osmosis or some shit like that, hopefully things start clicking. But I love to watch you guys grow because I feel like, especially with some of the people that I've named and some of the people we're going to have on this show, hopefully coming up, getting to see that other songwriters struggle just like I do.
Sure.
Like seeing one of the coolest things was seeing Jim Lauderdale hearing Jim Lauderdale ask me and Kendall Marvel, oh, I don't know. That wasn't cool, was it? Was that cool? I don't,
Damn, Jim.
You're sitting there thinking, what?
What are you talking about? Jim Lauderdale, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim was one of the first people that ever accepted a co-write with me when I started writing, on the road, like 2009. I think I would probably speak for everybody you mentioned that we all feel that way when we're sitting with you. I know I do. I don't ever think of myself as like a craftsman of songs. I write songs. Yeah. I would write songs. It didn't matter if I was getting money for it or not. I mean, it's what I do, and I always feel that way. That song that maybe you'll do later that I can't help you on because it's been so long since we wrote it, it's one of them moments. It's so cool to just be able to see how your brain works and just be around it, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to pull that off, but to me that song, it sounds like a Brent Cobb song being sung by me, which is exactly what I was wanting to do, because writing with co-writers is exciting for me because I want it to sound like I wrote with you. I want that sound, as a fan of the music, and I certainly think that's a great way for me to approach it because I just finished writing a song with Charlie Starr.
What a guy!
Yeah,
man. I love Charlie.
One of the sweetest guys in the business. Just super, super talented. And we were writing this song, and it got to a point to where I said, Blackberry Smoke would take it to a major chord. I would take it to a minor chord right here. I said, let's go with the major chord.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's the whole, and that whole that has not always been that way.
Yeah,
what you're talking about for a long time. Well, it was a long time ago, and then it seemed like for a few decades it wasn't that way. Mm-hmm. Like I've heard of huge songwriters go. One of the key ingredients of writing a big hit song is to scrub any of your DNA off of a song as a songwriter, and which I think works, obviously, in some instances. It's cool to me to see people like you who have your platform that you have care about that. And you wanted to have the voice of the songwriter that you, like back in the day, if somebody cut Sunday Morning Coming Down, they did it because it was sound like a Christopherson song, Mm-hmm. And it's obviously a wonderful, maybe one of the greatest songs, top 5 ever written.
I've sang it many a time, many a time.
So, it's cool, man. That's thank goodness, dude. Thank you for caring like that to want that to be heard that way.
Yeah. Well, I love it because I love getting into the nuts and bolts of it, and really we were talking about this a little before we started rolling. So much of your sound, like I said, it's Southern, it's honky tonk, which is the elements of country and rock and blues and gospel and old R&B and all of that. But you got your start singing in church, just like many, many, many of us that do this for a living did. Tell us a little bit about how that is, and then go on to the year 2022 when you said, and then turn the page.
And now let's turn.
And now thank you. You're journeying into that, because I tell you what, dude, I think when that record came out, we're going to talk about how you started, how you grew up, but getting all the way to putting out a gospel record that just kicks ass. By the way,
thanks, man.
If there's a gospel record that kicks ass, it's yours, because I remember and I can't even remember what song it was, but I was out on my ranch in my side by side listening to that record. And I called you during one of the songs. It might have been Old Rugged Cross or something. I don't remember. I was like, I have never wanted to dirty dance to.
No, I think it had to have been like Washed in the Blood.
Washed in the Blood. Yeah. Like wanted to dirty dance to Wash in the Blood.
Hell,
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I grew up Southern Baptist. We kind of talked a little bit about it earlier, real country church, like small, almost all family went there. There were definitely some outsiders, but very small country Baptist church. It was the kind of place that everybody was going to drink right after the service, but nobody talked about it. Nobody can know that you were going to go have a beer, but everybody was about to go have a beer. And so my aunt played piano in that church, and it was just exactly what you would think. It's my aunt would get up there and we'd play what I call the Southern Baptist greatest hits, which is Washed in the Blood, Old Rugged Cross, every song I put on that album. And I knew someday early on that I would want to make a gospel album, because Johnny Cash did it, Willie did it, Dolly Parton, Elvis, any of my heroes, it all come from that same thing. And Jerry Lee Lewis, damn, his gospel album's so good. But anyway, I knew someday I would do it, and that's where it comes from for me. And then I sent Dave, my cousin Dave Cobb, for those of you watching at home, world renowned Dave Cobb. Yeah, I sent him a text and was like, man, so when are we going to make the gospel album? And his grandmother was a Pentecostal preacher in Savannah. And we actually met at his other grandma's funeral, and she was Pentecostal, and she would guest sing at our church, and they couldn't have instruments, and she'd have her clogs on, and she would do "We Shall Rise, which was the first one we recorded on that album. And we didn't know how we were going to do it, so we took it down Southern Rock Road. Anyway, Dave said our family would be so proud. And so we went in there, and man, it was a blast making that album. And I wanted to make it feel Southern, though. I wanted it to be the kind of album that, we don't matter what you believe in, as long as you believe in music, you can damn have a good time and listen to this album,
100%. Yeah, you could just put that record in and just listen.
Let it roll.
And enjoy it.
Yeah. Drink a beer.
And I know that that's what you wanted to do.
Absolutely,
in that record. Well, yeah, it was mission accomplished. We have to touch on this, because it's a part of your history. It's a part of how you write, and probably a lot of who you are. But you went out to L.A. and I think you know where I'm going with this story and who we're going to be talking about. But and what he meant to you, and ultimately what he came to mean to all of us.
For sure.
Yeah.
Rowdy?
Yeah.
My Rowdy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it was not for Rowdy Jason Cope. I wouldn't know Josh Morningstar if it wasn't for Rowdy Jason Cope. A lot of people watching, people fans of your music, people don't know how much he had to do with the undercurrent of current popular, I don't know how to call it, like not necessarily radio country music, but it's country music.
I know what you're saying.
I know you know.
Yeah.
It's a little more independent. When I started going to L.A., so me and Dave had met, and he had produced Put the O Back in Country album that Shooter put out in 2005. And there's all me and my friends were listening to, and we met at Dave's grandma's funeral. And it's a little bit of a lengthy story. I'll try to shorten it. Y'all can edit it as much as you want.
We have all the time you need.
But I started going out there and had never been out in the world. And the first place, again, I was like 19, and started going out there back and forth for about a year and a half. The first time I went out there, Dave picked me up in his nice BMW from LAX. The second time I went out there, Rowdy picked me up, and his grandma's like pea green, like 84 Mazda something. I don't remember. He picked me up in that thing, and man, he had a little spot in the valley. I would sleep on his couch, and we would dissect songs like Townes Van Zandt and Waylon Live and Otis Redding and all that stuff. And in the meantime, Rowdy was also, this sounds funny to say because it's Shooter, and Shooter obviously is a genius, man. You know, his dad, everybody knows who Waylon is and what he had to do for independent country music specifically. I think also Shooter had a lot to do with our time, our era of independent country music. But Rowdy in the studio, because Rowdy and Leroy Powell were bros, and they would play at this place called the Saddle Ranch on Sunset and in the middle of Hollywood. It's like the only country place in Hollywood. And the whole deal was you would get a teammate, and you and that teammate would have 2 acoustic guitars, and you would walk up to people's table while they were eating barbecue, and you would have to know 1,000 songs. And then anything they request, you would do acoustically. And so Rowdy was buddies with Leroy. Rowdy, even though Leroy was already a country music fan, Rowdy was from the hills of Black Mountain, North Carolina, cutting his teeth on metal, but like in the real shit of like country music.
Country, that's where it started over there.
Dude. And so he was turning Leroy and Shooter and folks on the shit that they might have known, but like Rowdy was like, no, we got to do, like, Rowdy was like,
passionate,
man.
especially when he's talking about it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like you would be fired up about.
You would get excited about whatever. If he was talking about that mic stand, he would fire you up.
If he was passionate about that mic stand, you would be passionate about that mic stand. Yeah, man. And so he had a lot of influence on that stuff that was happening. Yeah. You know, because then Jamie came out in 2007. So I went back and forth for a year and a half from 2005 to 2007. And then I was so reluctant to move out there because I was just so young. It was such a different culture than where I was from. I didn't actually move there until 2007. And when I got out there, though, the first week that I was actually living there, Jamie was in the studio. He had heard that Electric Rodeo album that the song is Slipping Away that Shooter had wrote and recorded for that album, and he loved that song. That's when he and Shooter met. That's when he and Dave met. He came out to record some songs to maybe go on the Lonesome Song album. Mm-hmm. When he got there, they were recording You Can't Cash My Check. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because 2 weeks leading up to that shit, sorry, I'm going to go off on a tangent because I get so passionate about this moment in my life. Rowdy had called me for 2 weeks straight. We'd been talking about, he'd been just like, man, you got to hear this dude, Jamie Johnson, man. He's like, hey, I watched him write this song, man. It's called You Can't Cash My Checks. Listen to this line. He's just like, you can hold me, you can push me into the water, but you can't hold me under, you know? And he's just fucking fired up about it. And I'm sitting there when I go out there and they're recording that song. And you knew that this was the moment. The change was happening right then. Dude. Yeah. And that moment was going to continue to like influence moments for decades to come. And I knew it right then. I didn't say shit to Jamie. I sat in that studio as a kid for like hours while they were recording that shit. I didn't say anything to him. He didn't say shit to me either. But I knew that I was in a moment, you know. And but Rowdy wound up playing with Jamie for 6 years and influencing all of that. Mm-hmm. That then, you know, it goes on. Everything's a damn ripple effect.
Yeah. I don't know how many shows over the years with the Woods, but, you know, going back to 16 or 17, you know, with the Steel Woods and right after that had come off the ground strong, the wind and everything, you know, which you had a hand in on that, you know, too. And
it's insane, man.
Yeah.
I was in Rad's room when he first started writing Axe. Mm-hmm. He was like, check his shit out. Mm-hmm. And went into I swing my axe. And Rowdy always, he wanted to make a band. He wanted to build a band. Mm-hmm. And he's writing all these songs. You know, and he went to like MI. He went to the Musicians Institute out in LA. He was trained. He knew what the fuck he was doing. It wasn't just like random, but he also grew up on that shit and had saved up favor time because Rowdy always treated people well. If Rowdy could help someone out who he knew meant well, he would, and he did. And I remember him calling me when he had studio time saved up at Blackbird, mm-hmm. and he was so excited. He's finally fixing to pull his favor card. Mm. And he had this time saved up at Blackbird, and he'd been writing with his kid, Wes. I'm saying what he was saying. And he's like, man, you got to come down, man. We got this spot on the pond. You need to come down and write with us, man. And I couldn't. My wife had just had our first child. Yeah. So I'm in the middle of that. I can't break free. And anyway, he hits me up right before they go in, and he goes, do you have any songs that you can send me? I'm finally gonna utilize this time. And I sent him Better in the Fall. I sent him the finished version of Let the Rain Come Down, The Well. There's 2 or 3 more on there that I can't remember right now. Oh, If We Never Go. And they recorded all of them. And the first time I met Wes was at their album release show that they held at SIR. Rowdy was so proud, dude, of that it's everything he had been working for like almost 20 years at that point. Definitely 20 years. Almost 20 years since I had known him. Mm-hmm. Almost, like it was for sure 20 years. Anyway, I don't know. I went off on a tangent. I told you I would.
No, that's all right. We were just talking about, but that whole, because you answered so many of my questions, I really didn't even have to ask him, because a lot of that has that sound, like you're one of the guys who have indelibly shaped the sound. Man. You know, because that's why I brought it up with you and Rowdy going all the way back to 06, and then, you know, what he was able to accomplish in his work with the Steelwoods, mm-hmm. and, you know, on to you now, you know, in your solo records and the influence that he's had on that. But you have come into your own respectively. Well, Sometimes I'm a Clown, you know, case in point. That song, like, you can take people to church with your gospel stuff, mm-hmm. and you can go out there and like with the Steelwood stuff, you can do some rocking stuff. But you know, Sometimes I'm a Clown. So whenever Keep 'Em on Their Toes came out in 2020, that was a really tough time for a lot of artists that had their stages taken away from them. Yeah. And at the time, I was still drinking very, very heavily, so I was just at home and drunk as opposed to being on the road and drunk all mm-hmm. the time. And that charm wears off after a while. And you know, despite where you are in your life, sometimes all we have to rely on is our senses of humor, or trying to make other people laugh, especially in my case when I've probably hurt them. You know, it's, oh crap, yeah. I did it again. You know. Yeah. But you know, that song. That's why I believe you as a songwriter. It's like you lived that, and it's like I lived that song
for sure, man. Me and Lane had been together a long time. My wife, and we started dating shortly after, I don't know, about a year or so after I graduated. So yeah, we have lived it, all of it. That, you know, yeah. We started dating right when I started going to LA. So, you know, right when all that was happening, and that whole album, I would not have put out if it was any other album other than Keep 'Em on Their Toes. And I started not to put that one out. And as the year progressed, that was 2020. Yeah. The more I was like, this shit's getting more and more relevant, man. I got to put this.
It was heavy.
Out. It was a crazy year. Dude.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, everything aside, it was just an insane year. And each song, so we recorded that album in 2019. I didn't know the whole world was going to end the next year. And then I put
How prophetic.
Because I didn't know.
No doubt.
And, or did I?
Or did you?
But, so I knew I had to put that album out. And yeah, that Sometimes I'm a Clown, man. Me and my wife, oh my goodness, I was in the middle of the road. We were in Telluride, Colorado. I had been on the road for about a month.
Yeah.
I already had one kid, and it's hard anyway, when you're in the in between. And she hit me up one night after the show, and I think I've been drinking. I'm sure I have been drinking, and she said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm real pregnant. It's like, good Lord help us.
And then you wrote that
And then
song.
I sat down and wrote Sometimes I'm a Clown.
Can you be, is there a song that you've had looking back in any of your catalog that is it's too vulnerable? Do you change songs because to protect the innocent or to protect your own self? What in your process,
Probably I do. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But yes, that is probably.
Yeah. As a songwriter and as somebody that's able to, not only write for yourself, but write so well for other people, what's the best advice you could give or maybe have received from somebody that you looked up to? And it could be something so simple or anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to keep talking about Rowdy, I mean, still to this day, if I sit down to write a song, I'm consciously thinking of what would impress Rowdy, because he took me to school, man. I was a kid when I started going out there, and up to that point, I was an arrogant kid who just had, talent I was born with, and I had never considered trying to hone in on whatever that was and refine it. And Rowdy was real big on sharpening those edges, and but he would say, study songs, learn songs, input, output, whatever you are putting in, you are going to put out. And I remember saying to him, like back then, I was like, well, if I listen to too much stuff that starts to influence me, then I'm gonna start writing what influences me. And he's like, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's the point.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
And that's the best advice I ever got is to just learn as many songs as you can learn that you love. Just, you don't have to learn anything you don't love. Probably better if you did.
Well, and coming back, this is something maybe like for the older guys, I kind of feel like we're the last of the honky tonkers, the last of the bar guys. The last of the guys that really did have to sweat it out for 3 or 4 hours in some shithole.
And sort of enjoyed the sweat of it, yeah.
And we know what it's like, and you can't recreate that unless you've done it.
No.
So and here's how I see social media and everything, and not to get off on this soapbox, but just learning learning as many songs as you had to learn. That was survival back then, and that was because Rowdy was cut from that cloth of, dude, you went up there and you had the 8 to 12.
That's
you got
it.
3 15-minute breaks. You better keep the asses in the bars and people on the dance floor.
That's it, cuz Rowdy at the Saddle Ranch, not only did he have to know thousands of songs, because he never knew what the hell somebody's going to request with just him and Leroy.
Yeah.
Like, you remember when Zach Brown at that award show, this like 08, when Zach Brown did Devil Went Down to Georgia, and he does the acoustic solo on that, and everybody freaked out over it. It was a big thing then.
Yeah.
Rowdy was doing that shit 2 years before, because I was there, I'm not talking shit on Zach. I'm just saying.
Sure.
I remember seeing Rowdy and Leroy busting that out. Not only was Rowdy doing, I'm just like talking about Rowdy now because I'm half drunk and missing my buddy. But
talking about him all day.
But he was also selling real North Carolina moonshine on the side,
of course,
to like the LAPD. He was hauling that shit across the country. Anyway, I grew up in that too, man. I mean, Blind Ambition.
Yeah,
we were playing Kirby's, which is the little juke joint in Sly County. Got one pool table and one. We had a real jukebox, and
may or may not have had chicken wire at one time.
Buddy, my uncle used to say, my dad. I love hearing my dad tell his story. Daddy said that he's 5 years younger than his older brother, who was the other part of Slaughter Creek, and they'd walk into these bars that they were scouting to maybe try to get a gig at. And this is the early 80s. And they'd walk in, and my Uncle Bub they take one look around some places and they go, "No, we ain't playing here." You turn around and walk out.
No.
They go on some of them and they talk to them for a little while. "All right, we'll play here." They did that about 6 times in a row. And Daddy finally was like, "Man, what are you doing, bub? When you walk in there, what's going on? How do you know where we're going to play and where we ain't going to play?" And he said, "Well, when we walk into some of these places, the bullet holes are in the ceiling. And we'll play there because they just having a good time. In other places, the bullet holes are in the walls. And that means they shooting at you." He said, "We ain't playing in them places." Anyway, yeah, I come from that shit, man.
That's all the honky tonks and all the
That's
juke
some wild
joints.
shit.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. Columbus, Georgia, down there at Fort Benning.
Yeah, we've played some places like that, but I just feel like we're kind of the last of that. Those and that's kind of a badge of honor thing, because like I said, man, we were doing it for self-defense. I was throwing everything I could, and here's the thing, and we are songwriters. We knew we had to go play. I figured my ratio out. It's like, okay, I can get away. I know my songs are good enough to where I can.
70, you talking about the 70-30 split?
Yeah, 100%.
It was a part of the deal.
Yeah, I'd just be sitting there going, all right, how many? I know I have to play this many covers, and then I can slide my own in, and then.
I was always terrible I still am terrible at learning covers, but I definitely couldn't learn covers that I didn't like.
Oh, sure.
And, and you would play them places like you're talking about,
Yeah.
I don't want to name any places particularly, but the places.
Sure.
And the moment you're taking a break like this, oh, God, we just did a show with Flo Rida the other day, but it was his song that would be the first song 12 years ago.
I know.
Boots with the fur.
Yes. Every time you go on break,
the dance floor would be empty, and then that shit would happen. The whole dance floor would damn pack.
Oh, yeah. Or whatever it does, and like
man.
you're sitting there, you don't even have your guitar off.
No, they're in there. Where y'all been? Man, I did a show with him 2 weekends ago.
Yeah. Did you tell him about that? How all of us country singers
I
during
didn't
that
tell
part?
Flo Rida. No, I didn't tell him about it. But it was a private birthday party. It was Flo Rida was the headliner. This guy owns this whole town in North Tennessee, I guess, and he saw us at a festival. And he had Flo Rida was a headliner. He had Future Birds, and he had us.
That is eclectic.
It was wild. I got a video I'll show you after this.
That's
of me jamming out to the songs that used to pack the dance floor.
Before we had our guitars off and on the stands.
Correct.
Oh, God, that's funny.
Wild times, man.
Yeah.
Full circle moment for me.
Yeah.
It's a badge of honor, as you said.
It is, and that was going to be one of my next questions. It's your measure of success as a songwriter. They don't do that right when you walk off stage anymore.
Golly, man, that's the truth. Yeah. I have people still, that'll, and I'm sure you do too, that'll send me messages in my inbox on whatever and say, "Man, I'm a songwriter. What do I need to do to where I can just play my own songs at these shows?" And I don't really have an answer. Like, time, keep going. I don't know. Your path is different than my path, and nobody's path is the same. But it is so hard to get through that moment of your career if you're going to do it forever. And it's definitely hard. Like we were talking about, you have a wife that's been with you for a very long time. And
similar. Yeah, y'all are in the same boat.
Same as mine.
Yeah.
And it is not only hard to convince yourself to give it as many years as it takes, but also to convince them, I swear, this next year.
Oh, yeah.
We're almost there,
Yeah.
But it's time, man. It's the only thing that is for certain. For certain. You have to have faith that what you're doing is good, and you have to be able to trust the people that you respect and listen to what they say.
Yeah.
Because if they're telling you, "Hey, I don't know," then you probably should listen.
That's been an integral part of my growth, not only as a songwriter, but like as a 40-something-year-old dude. Like, I had to start listening more about everything.
I have a hard time with it too.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it has to do with how we're geared.
I suppose.
And how we're wired.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get, Edgar Allan Poe said, you don't get such exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the equation.
Come on.
And, the fact that our wives have, and your wife is a good writer.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife sneaks some in every now and again where
Well, for me, Lane is, she's a pharmacist by trade, but she's great taste in music. Somebody done messed up.
Well, we hope everybody's all right on that end of it.
Yeah.
We're going to just keep on rolling.
Lane is more intelligent than myself, but she also has always had great taste in music, and we started writing together, man. And the reason we started writing together is because she's awesome to hang out with. We put the kids down, and what I do when I'm chilling, pick up a guitar, maybe I'm writing something I'm not intentionally trying to, and that's how we would hang out. I'd be picking on the guitar in the evenings after the kids went down.
And your wife just slide a nugget in there?
Great, though. Like, she'd say some shit, and it'd be like, damn, that's perfect.
That's a lot how our situation is similar. Holy moly, these are good ones, man. It's been an active day. Who's your favorite person to co-write with?
Oh, probably my wife, really. I don't say that because you're watching, babe. I mean, she really is, because Lane trusts me, I love Hood. I love writing with Adam Hood. He trusts me, too. He'll sit back and, like...
Hood said to you.
Yeah, he would be writing the Hood will, like, already have the second verse wrote.
He does. He's magic.
Because he'll let you think you're writing in the second verse. And he'll already have that shit wrote over there. And then you bring it up, and he'll be like, well, I was thinking this, and it'll be done, which I appreciate, because I'm a good first verse and first half of the first chorus wrote. And I typically have the chord structure, and he'll just already have it done. But mainly, just anybody who will trust me. Just trust me that I know what I'm doing. Yeah. But you walk in a lot of those situations that they don't trust you.
That's a hard lot to earn the trust of, though.
I suppose it is.
That's really.
I would hope that at this point in my career, that when I walk in the room, that people are gonna be like, if they want me in the room, they would trust me.
If they've asked you, if you've in fact been invited to be there, then
but it ain't always that way. Not for that realm. Yeah. Not for. I don't know how to say it without seeming like I'm talking shit. I love everybody. Hell, I'm a friend of everybody. But sometimes you walk in those situations, and they'll tell some people that tell you, man, I'm a fan of you, man. Damn, I love blah blah blah. But then you walk into the situation, and it kind of is. They don't want to let you say nothing,
Yeah.
Treat you like you're dumb.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought I was here because you wanted me here.
Yeah.
Why don't you trust me right now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, man. It's hard to be in Nashville and not name real, people. I won't.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to sometimes.
Who's the best ever, in your opinion, best songwriter, or your favorite? However you want to answer that question.
I mean, of all time, any living or dead, I would say Roger Miller. All the way around, just everything. That joker could write like a son of a gun and sing it and play it and all of it. Otis Redding was another one. He wrote a bunch of those songs, and he arranged a bunch of those songs. Like Dolly Parton, the way Dolly could write about her Tennessee mountain home and make the whole world relate to it. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm trying to do. All three of them. That's probably my three favorite. Yeah.
That's a hell of a top three.
Dolly, Otis, and Roger,
Yeah, they all changed the music business. Every one of them.
Dude.
And really probably Dolly. Dolly's probably as responsible for guys like us that insist on, owning as much of our careers as we can.
No doubt.
Because she didn't let anything go. She was one of the ones that said, Hey,
Colonel Tom Parker?
Yeah.
Nah.
Exactly. And she cried when she had to tell Elvis no. But, it was one of those.
For Elvis, but not for the,
but for the, you know, for her to be like, well, you know, look,
This is my baby.
This is mine.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than that. You know, I'm going to change things. What a pioneer. What
Amazing,
a
man.
true badass in every regard.
No doubt.
Who would you like to write with that you, past, present, it doesn't matter,
Mm-hmm.
living, dead, you know, if you could have or you would like to?
Ronnie Van Zant. Man, I felt like also that dude was just so tapped in to that rural way of life.
All I can do is write about it. Yeah.
All of them songs,
Yeah.
man. And just the way he was so good at, writing the way you would think he talked. I don't know how he talked. I didn't know him, but it seemed like the way he talked, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else. I don't know.
That's a great answer. That's a really great answer.
I'd say Cody Jinks, but
we've written together, and we have more songs to write together,
I suppose.
So I think he's a better answer for where we're at and the conditions of what of everybody. You know, I hadn't asked anybody else this question, but I right before you today, I was looking over my questions, and I was like, you know, I didn't ask really anybody specifically this. I figured I'll try it out. It may suck. It sucks. You know, tell me. But
right.
What is moving forward as accomplished as you are? Look, you know, we all know that if everything were to go away tomorrow, man, and nobody knew who you were and nobody knew who I was, and somebody dropped us off somewhere, and we had a couple guitars with us, we could walk into where somebody was drinking beer and we could hustle some money.
No doubt.
We'd have enough to get a meal in a flop house for the night.
Yes.
And oftentimes we have been there.
Yes.
You know, so
sometimes I prefer that place.
Sometimes you kind of miss it, don't you?
Yeah.
Some of the shitholes I remember staying in with bullet holes.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah.
In the walls that they were shooting at each other.
I like it. Shit.
Yeah, that's real. That's real Americana.
I really do like that.
I do
shit.
too. It's a little rough. Yeah. We all like that rough stuff. But moving forward, man, what's your biggest motivation from where you are right now? All that you've accomplished, the co-writes you had, the cuts that you've had from the stars, frankly. You know, what's your motivation moving forward?
I mean, it's always ever been to keep the lights on and babies fed, and I don't feel satisfied if I'm being creative, but I'm not being creative true to myself. And as long as I can be creative freely and keep my lights on and my babies fed, that's what motivates me, is to, you know, make stuff that I know is genuine to myself, that is also keeping everybody fed. Not just my own babies and my own lights, but my band's lights and their babies. And like, that's what motivates me, is just knowing that I am who everyone is counting on, you know, and I care about that. That's what makes me want to keep. That shit makes me want to. I'll write 3 songs right now talking about it. You know?
Yeah. Well, and that's why you're gonna have people that stay with you through this crazy ass business and this crazy ass journey. No, that's as great an answer as I could have expected from you. Is, you know, personally, that's my motivation as well. You know, this point in the career, you know, there's a lot of people that depend on us, and
that is easy to see with you and the way you've conducted your business. For what it's worth, I gotta say it on camera. I told you this when you first answered after Rowdy passed away. Rowdy, back in 2013 maybe, he called me. Y'all had done some shows together. I think he may have been with Jamie. I don't know. It might have been Wayne Mills. But he called me, and he was talking about you, and did some shit with you and Whitey. And Rowdy said, let me tell you something. Cody Jinks is a righteous dude. He called you a righteous dude.
It's hands down. I've told people this before because I heard that from you the first time years ago. You shared that with me. That's the best compliment I have ever been given by anybody. And I know and I'm not just saying it because we've been talking about it today.
No.
That is, as a musician, as a person in this business.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a damn thing to say about somebody. I would not even think to say that about somebody. And he wouldn't either if it wasn't so. And so when he passed away, that's before he passed, when he said that, I had that for all them years. And you and I never really ever really talked. You know, we had a lot of different mutual friends.
A lot of the same friends.
Mm-hmm.
Met at a Jamie Johnson thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when he passed, I was like, I need to talk to somebody. And I'd always remembered that. And it's real easy to see the way you conduct yourself and your business and all the people who depend on you, that it matters, man. And we need so many more people to be that way in this world, you know.
Oh, it does matter. It matters because, I mean, that's why people come to hear us sing our songs, man, because it matters to them too. And I couldn't imagine a finer way to end a show than that, because they flashed the thing at me a few minutes ago. And shit that matters, you know, and that's really what it is. And
caring about each other.
Caring about, you know, loving your neighbor and
right.
Getting kind of back to how we started this in the first place and why we started doing this, and being thankful and having a sense of gratitude, especially as much as as hard as we've been on ourselves in this business. You know, things that were our fault and weren't our fault, things that, you know, we wrote about because they happened to us, and things we wrote about because we frankly put ourselves through them. But you're one of the best. You're one of the best at it, hands down, bar none. You know, I don't care who I'm talking to. In my book, you know, you're up there on the Rushmore, brother. So
thanks, sir.
It has been my honor. It's my honor to call you a friend, but it's been my honor to have you on this show, to pick your brain a little bit, to talk shop. Probably a conversation we probably could have had on a regular day anyway.
No doubt.
But you know. I know we got to play a couple songs, and I hate to trouble you, and I hate to even ask, but you know that sometimes I'm a clown. I don't normally ask my friends to play me a song, but I might today. All right,
I'm in.
Okay, y'all. Thanks. We'll see y'all in just a minute. We're gonna grab some guitars. My guest today's been Brent Cobb. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see you shortly.